Okay, and we are live. Welcome to episode 4 of the Pro League Podcast. Yes, we have been through 4 at this point, 2 others on this Berlin Major and one before. Today we're going to be covering day 3 and looking ahead at playoffs for these teams for the Berlin Major in 2022. So, with today's end, we see our 2 teams for each group that will be moving on to the playoffs. We also get the playoff brackets. And for a lot of NA people, unfortunately, you gotta pretty much vote for XSET, and you don't really have anyone else up because every other NA team did terribly. Funny enough, Astralis was actually the lowest rated team in the whole major, and Sonics was not far behind them. I think they were the third worst off the top of my head. No, they were the fourth worst. Damwon and Glad filled out second and third worst, but we're going to be going group by group per usual, and we'll start off with Group A. Group A, we see XSET and Rogue moving on. XSET really came out here blasting away, 5-1. Rogue right behind them, 3-2 with one overtime win as well. They really did well, both teams, but XSET specifically, I think a lot of people are surprised at. We thought a lot of other NA teams were going to do a lot better. We're used to the XSET that will throw easy games and then do really well, or maybe close on hard games. So, Clutch, what are your thoughts on who made it out and what we expected? Because I think a lot of us expected that NIP would do the worst, but Damn One really outdid them there.
Yeah, not surprised by Xset and Rogue, with how they performed. Ninja and Pajamas, they not really surprising that they didn't um really show up at all, but that one kid just they took the cake when it came just how badly underperforming with the worst round differential.
Yeah.
Um and really in all reality should be in terms of points, be the bottom. But yeah,
Yeah, you brought it up. They were literally the worst in terms of round differential. They started off probably the worst out of any team at this major, 0-2, and they did not get much better from there. They got one win, one overtime loss, and that's pretty much all they got for the rest of the tournament. But Gunshot, can I get your thoughts on this as well? Because I know Exit is one of your 2 favorite teams along with Sonics, and you must be pretty happy to see they're doing probably the best out of the group so far.
So yeah, XSET is. I was a little nervous the first day. I believe they lost their first match actually, but they've been very consistent. They're a team that definitely builds momentum. So I think as the tournament's gone on, they got stronger. Because like today, you saw Kino is playing Cali against FaZe, and he actually picked up 3 kills against FaZe Clan as Cali, which is a little interesting. You don't see that every day. Rogue, similar story. I think they just got better and better. Kanto is very mid online, at least this last stage. But people forgot that he was, an SI champion, and he's definitely a very good LAN player. He was dropped like 18 one map or something today,
Yeah.
and he got a haircut midday, so for the haircut buff. Like man's played a match, went to the barber shop, and played his next match. So that's like pretty alpha
I
right
will
there.
give you a chance to revise this. They did not play against FaZe because FaZe is in a different group.
Then I am losing it.
Yeah,
NIP. It was
NIP.
because of Latam. I
There
am
you go.
dumb.
Gave you a chance to revise that and you did. Good
Thank
job.
you.
Yeah, no,
Hey.
but I'm really happy for X that their first game that they played, they lost against Rogue 4-7. And then they turned around the next day and beat Rogue 7-4. So that was a quick turnaround for them. They did really well in terms of that. And overall, they ever since that first loss, they kept going for it. They just put their pedal to the metal and they kept pushing 7-3, 7-4, 7-5, 7-4, 7-1, and 7-5 to end out the last day. It was really good to see that from Xset, who I think a lot of people are really rooting for now if you're an NA fan, because that's really all you got. Every other team has hit the dirt pretty much, 6 feet under. But I think it's also very good for Rogue. We have been touching on it, whether it's today or yesterday or the day before. Rogue just picked up Sploit at the beginning of this stage. They've been doing really well with him. That is one thing that I think a lot of people are very happy to see. And it's really jumping the dirt for Rogue that they picked up someone who never really had T1 experience. And he's really been paying dividends for them. Clearly, they're doing second best in the major in their group.
He
But
1v3'd NIP today.
there you go. I mean, he's really paying it for them. They currently had a +7 round diff, so even in terms, they had the points and they had the rounds. I think that's what you can ask for from Rogue as far as that's concerned. Now, the thing is, if you look at the playoffs for this, the X set is going to be going against Wolves, and G2 is going to be going against Rogue. So if Rogue manages to beat G2 and X set beats Wolves, as a lot of people probably are expecting, it'll be another set of X set versus Rogue, who have already played in the group stage, and that'll be a fun head-to-head to watch. It'll probably be a close set, 2-1 probably in one of these teams' favors, but I think a lot of people are expecting XZ to come out on top, especially considering how the second game went in terms of their favor against Rogue. But yeah, with that out of the way, let's move on to Group B, because I think Group B was very interesting. We already knew going into this, whereas Group A, literally not one team was put into place at the beginning of the day. Group B already had someone pretty much soldered in. FaZe Clan, they were soldered in as the 1 seed or A seed in the playoffs. They had won the first 4 games, and today I don't think anybody's surprised that they lost both of their games, because realistically, safe strats, there's no point in putting strats except for maybe seeding, and I think they got the good end of the stick in terms of seeding for them. G2 managed to pull out both wins of the day. One of them being 7-0 against FaZe. Realistically, you're not going to be getting that when it comes time for the playoffs, but you could definitely tell that they were saving strats, and good on them and G2 for solidifying their space here. So, Clutch, are you surprised to see that G2 pretty much just pushed for the gold and they ended up getting first place here?
Um, I'm a little surprised in fact that well, this FaZe G2 game, was a 7-0 with FaZe not even going rank mode, just straight up casual mode against G2.
Yeah, you could tell they didn't care.
But that is a I'm I'm actually kind of interesting what side Twitch chat took on that bet when it came to channel point.
Yeah, no, it's really channel points as far as I go. I told you don't bet on that game. Said that yesterday. Betting on anything phase or anything W7M would be a throw. Same thing with Elevate. Elevate probably saved their strats from what I'd
Uh,
guess. But yeah, no, I'm not surprised with how that turned out. How about you, Mr. Super Enjoyer? Super's last chance at the major. They did win a game today, but it was a little too late.
I
yeah,
mean, I'm just gonna say it. Super finished off his semi-okay career with a double piece on FaZe.
Yeah.
So he literally got the last 2 kills in the round to end his career on Capcan. That took him from being 2-9 in the match to 4-9. So,
Yeah.
I
he
think
went out on a win.
this group though is the story of 2 teams that showed up and did okay, and 2 teams that showed up and underperformed the hell out of everything.
Yes.
I don't think this group is very competitive, to be honest. Like, once Sonics were weak. Sandbox just sucks because Sandbox. Um, and then so I think for at the end, G2 and FaZe Clan only had to play all right, and that's what it was. It was
Yeah.
nowhere near as interesting to watch as Group A.
I know we did a bit of theory crafting, and by we I mean muted. And we thought about this for a bit. If Sonics were to do well in this major, do you think a lot of people would criticize Super for going out after they did so well, or would they try to push for him to keep staying? Whereas now it's kind of like now he can slowly ride off into the sunset quietly. Do you think that has anything to play in it, or do you think they just did poorly?
I think they just underperformed. I don't think there's any reason why Super would want to troll because there's money on the line, NSI seating for his teammates, and there's potential that he's still working for the org
Yeah.
in management, so he wouldn't want to troll the org. So I just think they had a very, very poor lukewarm performance, and it's as simple as that. There's no deep theory crafting.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
definitely as far as him working there, I could definitely see it as him maybe being a coach in the future, flat out. just coaching
Well,
them up.
from the rumors I saw, he's not even going to be involved in Rainbow Six. He's going to be involved in more like a GM, like more taking care of the company, making deals, etc.
Damn, that's unfortunate for Siege fans. I'm pretty sure a lot of us would probably like to see him still
He said that
in.
he's going to keep streaming
Yeah,
and that he'll keep up like the doing the OTS and all that, but he's not going to like he'll do his FPL streams, but he's not going to actually like go into pro play again. He said that what actually burnt him out was attacker repick. He said that playing with attacker repick made the game less fun.
yeah. I
Because
mean,
he said it.
I
He
believe
said a
it.
reward. He said that, like in his opinion, with attacker repick, you don't need an IGL because it rewards teams that don't plan well.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. That's definitely a crutch for attackers.
Yeah, he said that you could take a team that was horrible before attacker repick, and now they're a decent team at attack just by default. So
Yeah,
and plus, I mean, he's even said he was the oldest professional player in Siege currently in Tier 1 esports. So his reaction time is not the same as an 18-year-old
yep,
or a 19-year-old. So
yeah, and
it's
that
rough, but
that with the conditions really just spelled doom for them in this
yeah.
major. Unfortunate, but end of an era for Sonics, I
Yeah.
guess.
And then
Hopefully,
for
only good things for them.
Sandbox, that team just sucks.
Yeah,
They
Yeah,
Sandbox.
literally are. They're irrelevant.
I
They're
will
just
say
they're
they.
just horrible at the game.
I will say they did do better than expected, but it's
That's like,
hard to say that when we really didn't expect much from them.
I mean, like
yeah,
Sandbox, literally their esports skin is on the Finca LMG because that's the only way their players can win rounds. So
Okay, okay. But yeah, no.
just saying.
Clutch, what are your thoughts on this? The closer with Sonics getting
um,
swept almost.
yeah. It's a it's a terrible way to go out for Super and Sonics, but they couldn't have a farewell tour like Canadian
Yeah,
uh did.
even though he's still
Um,
playing.
yeah. Well, one of them, one of his many
Yeah.
Watch.
farewell
Super's
tours.
gonna be signed to SSG next stage. Dexter's just stand-in so Super can quote unquote retire without a buyout.
Oh, this guy.
Yeah. And then there's Sandbox. They did better than expected. They won 2 games,
Yeah.
but that that is still, you know, Sandbox.
Yep, I agree. It's definitely a good summary there. There's still Sandbox. APAC still has a little bit ways to go as far as you can look. The bottom of the performance was two two APAC teams and two NA teams. That's not good for a game that just one stage ago was saying NA on top. Now NA is
Yep.
back to on bottom. 3 of the 5 bottom teams are NA teams. So we got a little bit to go. Yeah, conditions were poor, but we're athletes, bro. You gotta do better than that.
Yep.
Athletes. I'll put in quotation marks. You guys can't see it, but on to Group C. I think a lot of people also. I said it yesterday. Do not bet on W7. Any of the teams that were soldered in as a playoff team, do not bet on them. And anybody who did, you're not the brightest. I will say that much. But W7M and Wolves confirming their placements. I think ever since day 2, we kind of thought they'd be here. Although we were hoping OXG might be able to claw back a bit, maybe take some ground back. But Oxygen did win with Wolves in overtime today. But past that, not really much anything. More of the same. W7M and Wolves pulling out victories. Although again, Wolves overtime win as well. Um, I don't know. Good on W7M and Wolves for actually performing really well and pulling out, although Wolves barely got away there by the skin of their teeth. So, Clutch, I'll get your thoughts on W7M, their superiority, and Oxygen really falling short because to NNA, they're kind of one of the teams that we've gotten used to them falling short. And I think this would be a perfect point for them as an org with all the rumors going around of Laxing being dropped, for them to actually drop him and reevaluate their team comp.
Start with W7M.
Go for it.
Amazing round differential, even with the fact that they were penciled in yesterday, still came out and won a game and lost one game in overtime.
Yeah, plus 17.
Uh, yep. So with them, no days off like every other team chose to do.
Yeah.
Um, so that's actually kind of interesting. With they were still able to show up and be motivated to win. As far as oxygen goes, um, yeah, seems like the perfect for a roster change. Um, it's kind of funny how like right before the major start, right before group stages, there's rumors of Laxton getting dropped as well, though. So not sure if how long they were looking at that, and pretty sure that did have some effect on how they perform. And but yeah,
Yeah. And then
tragic way for them to go out.
I think Glad's we expected them to be down there. Again, good on APAC for at least making a little bit of a splash. They got an overtime win and overtime losses, and not just straight L's. Fortunately, we didn't see that out of really any team here, although NA definitely had its splashes in that pond. I'll say that much. Uh, but yeah, no, good job on APAC for at least pulling out some overtime wins, maybe some regulation wins, and I hope, honestly, I've said this yesterday. I hope the skill increases with that league because that would be really fun where we could go into every game and be like, this is going to be a 50-50. This is going to be a 50-50 across the board. That would be very interesting for the league. But to kind of focus in on the laxing thing, I know Gunshy, for as long as I've been talking about Pro League this stage, you've been saying that laxing's just a baiter and that he should have been dropped. Do you want to expand upon that a bit and maybe discuss why you think Oxygen might move away from him upcoming year?
I mean, first off, Oxygen's had laxing signs since they were East Coast, then Cloud9, then Reciprocity, and now Oxygen. The guy's been on the team this whole time. They've never won anything. And I could make a whole montage of laxing 1vx situation baiting clips. So, I mean, yeah, oh my gosh, Laxing has these amazing stats. This first round, 3 impactless kills, loses the round because he baited his teammates in a 1v5. Next round, 2v4, gets 3 kills, dies because he baited his teammate. Because, like, it's just not a sustainable playstyle, and I think they would do better having a dedicated, like, more dedicated player who's more playing more around the team composition than this solo roam style. And I realize there's rounds where it pays off, but for the most part, it just doesn't, and that's just the truth. So if they go in another direction, I would be very excited to see what they do.
Yeah. So if they do manage to pick someone else up, how close do you think they'll be to winning the next major? Probably. Do you think they'll
I
actually make
mean,
it in the playoffs?
I think that you got to watch how a team gels. Just because talent is good on paper, there could still be impediments.
Yeah.
But I think that if they brought in like, I'm gonna be honest, at the beginning of the year, I wanted them to drop Laxing, then let Yaga leave for exit. I wanted them to hold Kino. Because in my opinion, if they had kept Kino and then brought in Dream Manures, I think that would have been a god tier roster.
Yeah.
So I think that I hate to say it, I wish they would buy out Kino,
They
but
they
I don't
probably
think it'll
will.
happen. I
Yeah.
don't think it'll happen, but I would like to see them buy out Kino, and I think that they would be a much more complete team.
Yeah, I mean, Oxygen definitely need to make changes. We were saying that about TSM in the last stage, but Oxygen have made it in the playoffs, but there's clearly some sort of chemistry problems, definitely some playstyle problems that need to be addressed because you need a whole team that's working around each other, working together in order to get a major. You can't just have one guy baiting his ass off. And to your point, a lot of people do say that his stats are insane, but I tell those people, yeah, but when you're in a 1v4, 1v5, of course your stats are going to be insane because people are just going to be rushing you, trying to get you killed. Like, I don't know what you expect out of that. Of course he's going to have good stats, but at the end of the day, stats don't really translate if they're not winning everything.
Exactly.
Like, I don't know. Group C, Oxygen, need to reevaluate that. There's been a lot of things about them, G-Tube dropping Prano and Oxygen dropping Laxing. I think the Laxing issue is a little more direct because G2 did manage to make it in the playoffs. they did manage to get somewhere with Brano still on the roster, and they might actually make it deep into the playoffs, mattering on how their game goes against Rogue. But Oxygen's definitely going to need to reevaluate that. And I think moving on to our last group here, this was probably the closest group in terms of on paper who could beat who moments, but Elevate throughout day one and day two came out as the one seed out of here. They did manage to fall down the second. Furia managed to win, what was it, one or two games? Did they win? They won both their games. Elevate and Furia won both their games. I know when I woke up, Clutch had said that their Astralis' fate was already decided before they woke up to play, and it was true. Elevate beat Eminem, and by doing that, they all wait. What? Ugh, I'm looking at the wrong day. I'm so sorry about that. Furia beat Elevate, and by doing that, they lost. They were out. Both of their games that they played did not matter. They still managed to lose both of those games, which is funny enough, but we had this whole conversation with Muted yesterday about not putting your future in other people's hands, and he was really theory crafting, but so many things had to go Astralis' way for them to make it in, and I was playing simple. It probably won't happen, and their fate was definitely decided before the first game. And to kind of wrap this and segue this, Clutch, you did say that their fate was decided before they woke up. You want to discuss
Yeah.
that a bit because theory crafting was a little strong in that one from Muted.
Yeah. If you thought what what FaZe did against G2 was casual, what Elevate did in both their matches, they basically pulled a Dom key and went 3-14 in rounds. In the first two games, the first two games that were stringed today,
Yeah.
and basically, yeah, that like Astralis like didn't even have a chance to like eat breakfast or wake up before they were basically booted out of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and so basically, Astralis for the last two games they basically just phoned it. Um, it's still crazy that yesterday, Astralis actually being the 16th ranked team on point was still had a pathway to make it to the playoffs while Domino Kia was eliminated yesterday.
Yeah.
Still crazy how that works out, but yeah.
Yep. Bottom
The
seed still have
Joker
a
won,
chance.
yes. The Joker won today. The Batman was slain.
Yeah, I would not really call him Batman. Just my POV of that. But when I woke up
He's
and saw
Robin.
when they lost, I told you, Clutch, I was there. I just texted me and was like, "Where's Dave?" Just sent him a screenshot of them on the bottom. Where's Dave? He was nowhere to be found. And again, the Astralis, if they want to be firing on all cylinders, Iconic needs to be showing up in a massive way. They all need to be playing together, and they just weren't. Whether it's
I
the
think
temp.
Dave's gonna be working at McDonald's soon.
Jeez, yeah. I mean, that you could tell the heat was definitely getting to him. Nas, I think it hit Super a lot
Literally or
worse.
figuratively.
Well, he had a towel around his head while they were playing, so I think literally. Whereas Super, his glasses were fogging up, his arm was sticking to his mouse pad. I said it yesterday. I'm pretty sure Iconic's head exploded and there was fumes coming out of it. I think he overheated a bit too much, and as a team, they kind of just did not do well this major. So that
Yeah.
ended them in the literal bottom spot for the entire major. And Gunshy, I'd like you to kind of wrap this up because Elevate and Furia both came out firing on cylinders today. Eminem just fell short, but what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. M&M, to start with them, they're a newer team. They've only been to SI where they got pretty much the same performance. They have a lot of kinks to work out, mainly consistency issues, I'd say. Since they seem to do okay, they seem to push through, and then all of a sudden they just kind of lose it, and then just they don't have that punch, so to speak. They don't have that brute force. Tyrant and users kind of lose their punch, and that might be like land nerves. We can't really tell yet. We gotta like see in time. As for Furia are always gunners on land. Fantasy is literally has a brick brain. He's like stupid, but give him an LMG and he'll just keep pushing.
Yeah.
But they're a good team. Like I think Furia, once they get going, they brought in Handy and I forget who else. They really are a pretty good team, and they're pretty solid teamwork and chemistry. So I think they're not really a surprise that they did well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then, like you said, Astralis. I mean, I think Dave's gonna be working at McDonald's soon due to too many consistency issues.
You think they're gonna drop him?
Uh, I think they'll drop him for a more consistent player because he kind of has Benji Mula syndrome. He'll have one good game, and
And
then
then
he'll have
like
6 bad
I was about
ones.
to say 3 or 4 bad games. Yeah.
Like, and whilst that one good one is nice, and he'll drop 20. There's other players who can do it consistently. Like look at Mowgli.
Yeah.
Mowgli literally was a rookie. He drops like 20 a map.
He was going
And sure,
insane
true,
this
it's on
set.
Finca, but like the dude drops 20 a map,
Well,
and he also
so was
plays
Iconic though.
mute.
That's the thing. Iconic was
Not
also on
like not like
Finca.
Mowgli.
Yeah.
Mowgli, it's not even iconic. It's like, will he show up? No, Mowgli is just 20,
Well, I'm saying
and
like he
Mowgli
was
plays
on
SMG.
Finca. That's what I was
No, but
saying. They were
I'm
both
talking
playing.
about consistency.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like Mowgli just iconic. It's very, will he do well or will he wander into the building and die? Mowgli, it's just you watch and you see the outlines through the wall, and then all of a sudden, oh, that guy's dead. Oh, that guy's dead. And like you can predict it almost. He's so consistent.
Yeah.
And it's like the same on the SMG 11. So I think Iconic's gonna get dropped.
Yeah. Now I will
So,
bring
cause
this
like,
up. You
sorry,
finish your thought. Finish your thought.
I was gonna say, cause like the other members of Astralis are doing pretty well. I think especially J9O.
Yeah.
He was
Definitely.
positive even when they're losing games, and he's not like a baiter. He just was getting his kills, and then his team was not there for him. So
Yeah. I said this yesterday. Forrest and J90 are definitely the 1 and the 2 respectively for that team. And I mean, as far as the third, Iconic's a decent third, but he is so wishy-washy that their play completely lands on whether or not he's having a good day or not. And this is what I wanted to point out earlier is that both Eminem and Astralis lost both of their day 1 games. Like it wasn't even overtime, whereas a lot of the games on day 2 were overtime wins or overtime losses. They flat out just lost. So if anybody was looking at the original day 1, they could have easily just predicted how this stage was going to end up based off of day 1. Like they weren't competitive right out of the gate, and they really didn't pick it up much except for overtime. And yeah, definitely brought them to downfall. I do not think Astralis will drop Dave just because of how his performance was in the first major. I do think that they're going to have some role switches. We probably won't see him on Finca as much. We'll probably see him on some more fast-paced characters, a lot more movement-based characters. Well, I say movement-based. I think more like Alibi, more like fast stuff. Not so much Finca because he has not been doing well in Finca recently. And I don't think it's going to change with the LNG buff coming in later this year. But
I
that's
could see them changing like their entire strat book and how they play.
yeah. I think it would be beneficial just where like Oxygen's going to be dropping someone. I think they're going to need to do a reroll and completely see where other people are going to work better. Maybe it might not be his best spot, but it might be for the team's best interest.
Because even like some of the other like just simply looking at Astralis play, like there's be times where I'm like looking at like some plays, I'll be wondering like what the hell are they doing? Like doing this
Yeah.
like as a whole.
I think
And like the way they
Astralis.
play is like so quirky. Like sometimes like they strat themselves like out of a win.
Yeah.
I think Astralis has a weird mixture of okay stratting, then players without discipline. Because the way I like to play Siege is based on discipline, and like you play your spot, you do what you're told,
Yeah.
and I don't think Astralis plays. Like I think they don't know what they want to be. They don't know if they want to be a crazy team like Furia or if they want to be a control team like Sonics, and they try this middle ground BS and it never works. And then
Yep. You just got to commit,
like
honestly.
yeah, either go one way or the other, go full chaos or go full structure.
Yeah. I will definitely agree
So
with it. And I pointed to it earlier when we were beginning this, but the playoffs are going to be a very interesting set. I say that funny set. I think Exit has a chance to go all the way. Am I being a bit delusional being an NA fan and them being the only NA team left? Maybe, but they're going against Wolves. I definitely think they can win against Wolves. G2 and Rogue, I think realistically, whatever team comes out of that bracket, they can easily beat. But W7M and Elevate, that's going to be a barn burner. I don't know what's going to happen with that one. And I think most people have FaZe coming out of the Fury of FaZe game. So, Clutch, who do you think's going to win out of the G2 Rogue? You can start with that, and then you can move on to your predictions for the other groups.
I'll start with G2 Rogue. I think G2 wins. G2 wins 2-1, and I think it's solely because of experience.
I
G2 will out
yeah
experience Rogue. Like Rogue does have like some crazy fraggers, G2 well, and Rogue does have Kanto, but as a whole, G2 roster has more experience on land than Rogue does. Not to mention, they also got Spoit, which yeah, he's good, but this is first land.
yeah I could definitely see that, especially in somewhere completely that he's not used to.
Yeah.
But
Except Wolves, I could see Except winning 2-0 against Wolves, but both maps will probably go in overtime. Like it'll be like two close maps, and it won't look like it was a close game. Well, close game just from the 2-0, but it'll be two close maps. Exit will pull out. W7M and Elevate. That one will be a hell of a game.
yeah,
Um, I could see either team winning.
yeah, that
Uh,
one's gonna be a close. That's definitely gonna go 2-1 in one of the team's favors. I just don't know which
yeah.
one.
And I almost want to say I'm hoping Elevate wins because I don't want to see an APAC team get group stage. But W7M is just on a fucking tear,
Yes.
just just destroying everyone. While Elevate is hell bent on proving that they would have won the last major. So that one is definitely 2-1. I'm not sure who wins. And Fury and FaZe, I think that will be a close one as well. And I'm not sure because it's two lat AM teams, so that would be basically a Hell in a Cell match as well.
Yeah.
Um,
It's gonna be
that one is like
basically
literally a coin flip.
that one's basically gonna be them basically playing back like it was in the stage. We'll see who's
Yeah,
better at playing the LATAM play style. But who do you think?
I
You think FaZe
I'm
or Fury?
thinking Furia because FaZe has a history of shitting the bed and
Uh, I mean they also have a history of going on a run, so it's quite
yeah,
possible they push through here.
like it's possible they either make it to finals or they lose in the quarterfinals. There's
Yeah,
no
yeah,
um for the semifinals except G2. I got Xset winning that one
yeah.
2-1.
I think that's pretty
Um,
reasonable, all
yep.
things considered.
G2 is too good to lose 2-0, and I think Xset is just better. Even
Yeah,
though G2 got better fraggers, I think overall Xset is like better than G2 and everything else. Semifinals for the lower bracket. If it's W7M versus Furia, W7M win
yeah,
2-0. If it's Elevate versus Furia,
2-1.
I think Elevate wins 2-1.
Yeah.
And if it's FaZe, I got Elevate and W7M beating FaZe 2-0.
Oh, you think they'll beat them 2-0? So you're not really a FaZe fan, are you?
Um, I've been burned by FaZe many times over the years.
Okay. Yeah,
Though there have been times where I underestimated FaZe and they somehow pull out and just burn some teams.
yeah,
But overall, I think who makes it to the finals in the lower bracket is W7M or Elevate Dave Furia.
yeah.
And for the final, it is Exit versus
One of those two.
W7M or Elevate. Um, I got Exit over Elevate.
I was about to
Uh,
say if it goes against Double 7M, I think it's a coin flip. Definitely, it's
yeah,
whether or not they're gonna shit the bed.
yeah. I got Exit over Elevate, and then if it's W7M versus Exit, I think W7M win, but it's gonna be real close
Yeah.
because yeah, the lat AM play style is very unpredictable, but it's also hard to, sustain,
Yeah.
for a long period of time. And I think by the time finals come around, not only will W7M be kind of burnt out on the play style, but also some of their luck will just be ran out while X is a bit of a more controlled team
Yeah.
compared to and that's my prediction.
Okay. Well, I should have also made this very clear. I think it's gonna be exit phase. I don't think W7M or Elevate can probably stand up to phase if phase really get moving, but like they have been. I think today was just them throwing, saving strats, and I definitely think that they beat W7M or Elevate come time. And I think XA could easily beat G2 or Rogue, but it'll probably end up being 2-1. I don't know who would win if it goes XA versus FaZe. I'd be putting my coins on XA, but that's because I'm an NA fan. Gotta at some point. And yeah.
Yeah.
But Gunshy, it's your turn because I think a lot of people have not really been putting too much faith in their Rogue. I think I talked to you about this. You think Rogue might make it out over G2, which might upset
Yeah.
this a bit.
So my semifinals are Xset, Rogue for the first semifinal, and then Elevate, FaZe Clan for the second. I think Xset Rogue, Xset takes for grand final spot, and then I think for the other one it could be really either one. Well, let's say Elevate just to be interesting. So I think grand finals would be Elevate Xset, and I think at that point it really is whoever is feeling better that day.
Yeah. I okay, if it goes down to Elevate Exit, I do think Exit takes it just because they'll be running that and they as much as I always put them as this throwing team, I think if they get that far, I don't think they're gonna let that get away from them. Just with Kino and Yogg being there, I think they will try to make a statement there. We might see another Kino shotgun scenario or Yogg shotgun. It always passes my mind who runs the shotgun. I'm sorry about that. But I definitely don't think Elevate wins this one, unfortunately. Um, Maybe FaZe, but we'll see, honestly. So, any closing thoughts on you guys for today?
Nope.
No?
Uh, nope. Other than go NA, go
Yeah.
Exit really,
Yeah,
please.
please, you're our last hope. Uh, yeah, no, I do have something to say. One, I hope Super gets to me about my hat. Okay, I'm not gonna ask him about it at this point because he's definitely feeling depressed right now. But I will be asking him in the next couple of days. And two, this is a message for NA. Get your shit together, okay? Only one of you made it out. Last major, you were literally three of the four teams. The only team that wasn't in the semifinals that wasn't a NA team was Liquid. Okay? Get your shit together. You literally dropped off. We need you back up here, okay? NA fans need something to root for again. We're not going back to the bottom. Hear me now, okay? But yeah, with that closing thought, I think we'll close this episode of the podcast. This has been a good episode 4. A good comeback for Gunshy over here because Muted was a good host, but he did go off on some theory crafting and tangents. So it's good to be back to our original program. But yeah, with that out of the way, I'll let you guys say goodbye and we'll head off here.
Bye.
Have a good night.
Yep, see you around, boys.